Hey, yo, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Kelly. Hey, party people.
Hey, party people.
So, while we give people some time to hop on in here, how was everybody's weekend? I'm going to start because my weekend was amazing until I maybe gave myself a mild concussion. Like, I was feeling good. I had this is why I wanted to start out with this. This is what, like, I had absolutely no migraine symptoms at all or anything, right? And then I was like, cool, well, it's hair washing day and I want to go do that. And I'm like, oh, my leg's getting a little prickly. So, and I don't like that because, like, I don't like when my legs get a little prickly because then, like, sweat gets in the hair. It's just not okay with me. But my ass was feeling so good, I forgot to check the drain for hair, right? Because Chris and I both shed like Pomeranians. And so when we're showering, we got to drag the hair from over the drain and toss it. Yeah. Well, I forgot to do this when I went to go get my razor. And my little happy ass doing a dance or whatever when I go to get back in the shower because I'm trying not to drip all over the floor. And the cream rinse conditioner, soapy water, not very good for friction turns out. And I slip, right? I end up with a cut on this knee, a bruise on this one, and I hit this part of my head on the outside of the tub, and then my forehead on the other part of the tub. And then I just sort of did not move for a moment. I was like, I'll shave my legs and get out. It's like, well, I'm here now.
I'm not dead, so therefore I shall continue in my task.
Dead, nothing is bleeding. It's fine. And then I had a headache and I felt super nauseous and I was real sleepy. So I was like, this is probably a little bit of a concussion. I'm gonna just take a nap.
You're not supposed to sleep.
Yeah, aren't you not supposed to sleep when you have a concussion?
That is a fallacy. That is untrue. It is better to sleep as long as you are like not vomiting. It is better to sleep through a concussion because your body heals better.
I mean, after a little bit, yes, sleeping, but I think like at first staying conscious is probably.
I'm not trying to shave my legs. What? I shaved my legs, I laid down, I read some webtoons, and I was like taking a nap.
Did you tell anyone that you hit your head?
My husband. As I made him feel guilty for not checking on me. He goes, he just thought I'd make some shit over. He's like, you didn't yell for me, so.
Oh, okay.
My dog was very upset though. She was like yelling. She's like, mother's down, until I yelled her name, and then she was like, okay. But like literally my oldest had a like full-blown concussion last year, and I spoke to the ER, spoke to the doctor. I know for a fact that once the person can wake up, it is better to let them sleep the concussion off. Your body will.
That's the tricky part.
Do its job better. I was 100% certain I would be safe if I slept. I've had migraines worse than this. Like, bruh, the part of my head I hit right here that's a little bit swollen, I pulled my neck there last year. It was a lot more swollen. It was uncomfortable to sleep. This is just like.
The difference between a migraine, straining your neck, and a concussion, I think is important though.
I feel like one day you're going to come on stream and be like, so I nearly died several times this weekend, but I've had migraines that were worse, so it's fine. And I'm just going to be
actively bleeding out, but it's fine.
Yeah.
No, I was actively bleeding out, but I'm not anymore. So
you weren't bleeding out, you were just bleeding.
No, you said I'm bleeding out, so I was saying in the situation that you speak. Yeah, I know. This is why Fox says that a lot of times he calls, I am just his giant ball of concern. But also,
stupid.
My chronic migraines did get so bad before I started medicating them that I was dehydrated and had to go to the emergency room because I couldn't hold anything down. So, yes, I have a very high bar for it's not worse than migraine. I can hold down my drink. Oh, that's fun.
Did you clean the drain?
Fucking yes! I cleaned the drain before I started shaving. I was like, this is bullshit. I clean that drain like time I get in the shower or the tub because I hate that. And I felt good yesterday. I fucked up, and now I had a great weekend.
I feel like I have to clarify because I've seen stuff in the chat. Like, it's not a myth that you're not supposed to sleep after concussion. What it is that before you see a doctor, in the case of a not mild concussion like Sam's, you are not supposed to go to sleep because it could be serious enough that you won't wake up, you know? Like, you need doctor verification before you can sleep. Because I actually had once at a sibling's school, a kid after school fell off the playground, landed right on his head. And the entire time they were like waiting for the ambulance and stuff, he kept saying he was tired and that he wanted to go to sleep. Yeah, it was spooky. So
I fell out of a tree once, hit every branch on the way down, landed on a plastic playground thing, got up, went home, took a nap. I was fine.
Now I understand why Fox is so concerned. Before I used to be like, oh, he's such a good friend. You know, maybe he's the type to be naturally good. No!
This is why, like, when I couldn't just take naps for migraines, and I, in fact, felt worse when I woke up from a migraine nap, I felt very betrayed. Because I was like, naps have fixed everything in the past. Why isn't it fixing this? I had a great weekend. I went to an event with the medieval rec group and got an award for my brewing stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah, you should sleep deal. I will say, like I said, when I talked to the doctors last year about my oldest, they said as long as you're not vomiting and you're confident you can wake them up, it is better to let somebody sleep.
But just go to a doctor if you think you have a concussion, though. General rule of thumb.
Yeah.
I also have a lot of experience with mild concussions, not for myself, but because of my baby sister. Because, like, my baby sister would she was y'all think I'm a wild child. My baby sister stressed my poor mama out so bad. She has had stitches in her skull. She's had staples. She has had glue. If there is a way to put the skull back together, my baby sister has had it.
I love how your accent got thicker.
Yeah.
You were
Have
saying
you ever heard of this thing called a helmet?
Yeah, we tried that. But one time was 100% not her fault. We were...
my concussions were my fault. Very few of my injuries were my fault.
I've never
Well, hold on. We were setting up my mom's pool, right? And we were setting out these decorative cement block things, right? And one of the, like, you know, small children are carrying them, and she bent down to put hers down, and then she stood up really fast as somebody else was carrying it, and that was, I think, when she needed glue. Because like she broke it, but not like enough for it to be like concerning. But I just remember I was like, Mama, she's bleeding again. And my mom took her to the hospital. So yeah. No, you are not supposed to sleep if you have a concussion. Again, follow what CB said. If you think you have a major concussion or you have no experience with concussions, or if you're vomiting, generally if you're vomiting, no matter the cause, go to the doctor. Like, that's always a big flag. People are not supposed to vomit.
Just let the doctor decide whether you can sleep and or if you have a concussion.
You sit from a nice privileged place of free health care. Okay, not all of us can afford $1,000 for the doctor to be like, yeah, take some Tylenol, some aspirin, you'll be fine.
I hate when they say that. I'm like, damn, Google.
You have to come here. So, like, yes, if I had the money, I would go to the doctor for so many more things.
For my ear thing, they like told me like non-prescription meds to take, which helped. Like I'm good now. But I was just like, damn, I feel like I could have figured this out by myself. I didn't need you. This is a waste of money.
So I wouldn't recommend staying awake for 24 hours regardless. But it would definitely prove, I think, that your concussion will not comatose you. That could have saved Bret Hart. I don't know this. Just the one time. It's not so much that she was a klutz, so much as she was under the misguided impression she was invincible and could climb or do whatever she wanted. So while I don't say she did it on purpose, there were several preventable things that happened because she just didn't want to listen. Like, she's an Aries. I don't know. That comment was written before I initially gave it to. I got you.
I was very aware of my own mortality, and yet I kept getting injured. But I think that's just me.
I will also, like, as I should have prefaced this earlier, that like none of us are medical professionals.
Yeah, don't
always listen to a medical professional over everything. But also, I'm a 33-year-old Southern lady, so if I'm gonna get yelled at by medical advice, I'm gonna be belligerent. My grandfather literally will. Now I'm not this bad, but my grandfather would literally like cut his arm or something in the backyard while he's working with his saws and just grab super glue and glue his finger back together. They've got this thing called new skin, which essentially functions the same way but is better for you, which my grandmother gives him now.
Oh,
but
when
that stuff, the new skin is great for, you know, when you have like a hangnail and you have pulled it and it's like
yes, I understand what you're saying.
You pull it and it's like it's terrible on the inside, you know, it's all like torn up. Put new skin on that shit.
I've
and
never
it's basically they also call it liquid Band-Aid.
I've heard of that.
It's kind of like clear nail polish, but it works like a Band-Aid and it just disintegrates. Like you don't even
put clear nail polish on.
Also,
it hurts.
It's great for like nails.
Also,
stuff.
Don't use super glue.
Yeah, don't use it. I'm trying to talk about this, and you guys are like, don't use dangerous thing, and I'm like, no. But yeah, like, or if you like, you know, your nail has broken like too close to the edge, and like the skin is sensitive there, pop some new skin on it. You don't feel a thing.
I feel like I have to invest in this.
It's
when
great.
we were, my family visited Scotland when I was younger, and I cut open my pointer finger. I still have like a wicked scar from it. Like my. It didn't. We should have gone to a doctor. We didn't. Should have. Probably should have gone. It's fine.
I will also say, in true parent fashion, there are far more things I will drag my children to the doctor for than myself.
So I cut off my finger.
Fox is concerned.
I cut off my finger, but it didn't. Okay, it hurt, but like, and it was bleeding a lot. But like, we like. I did the whole like cover. It was fine. My dad was an EMT. It's fine.
Well, welcome to Fox's Ball of Concern 2.0.
When we were there, we got this like it was specialized for fingers, like a bandage, and it was like you put it on, and it was like this tube. You put it on, and then you twist it, and you like fold it over and put it back on, and it looked like a condom on your finger, and it looked really. I was like, right after 6th grade, I thought this was hilarious. We could get them in a couple colors. And, but it would like actually like put pressure on the wound and everything. I mean, I didn't die. I didn't lose my finger fully. I have a little bit loss of feeling around it. It's fine.
I'm just saying, this child was yelling at me.
I don't know how Scotland medicine works. Hospitals. We were in this like cabin that was really rural. It was fine.
Sometimes. Yeah. Tina, I love the shirt. I love that show. That reminds me of music.
It actually says JFK 2024. This year's his year. I've watched some of the new season. It is good. It's one of those things where like if you like apples and oranges in terms of the previous season, you know? It feels like
Show us this.
unfair to compare them. Oh, Clone High. And actually, you can watch all of the original season on YouTube. At least you used to be able to. I don't know if you can now. Still, they might have removed it. But yeah, I had where during lockdown, I just binge watched it. And it's really really funny, but in a stupid way, which I love.
Nice.
All right.
But yeah.
We're 16 minutes in, so we do need to go ahead and do our intros. And
boy. I'm not prepared.
well, while you're in the first spot, so you got to get prepared right fast.
Yeah, I'm in the hot seat.
But while Tina scrambles to get prepared, I will say, 1, how's everybody liking the new Let's Talk layout? And 2,
Oh yeah,
our new card layout.
I thought the whole thing was upside down for a second.
No, just
Yeah.
I was like, oh no!
Like, oh no, it's broken. I'm everything's upside down.
Most of the productivity Fox and I got done this weekend was revamping.
Oh, only you said how your weekend was, by the way.
Yeah,
well, you're 17 minutes in, bitches. Maybe if you yelled at me less, you.
Maybe you said things that didn't deserve to be yelled at.
Hospital, and you telling people to
Introduce
self-diagnose
yourself
concussions.
Hold on. I never told anybody to self-diagnose a concussion.
Well, I guess
let us be very clear. That is
I
very
self-diagnosed
serious.
my own concussions.
I said I think I have a mild one because I fit all the symptoms, but I wasn't vomiting, so I didn't go to the doctors. So, but either way, introduce yourself.
All right. Well,
don't lay on that.
When I'm not being concerned for my friends who get concussions over the weekend, I make queer art and comics. I will throw my links down below. You can follow me on the Instagram, on my website. I have a day in the life of a vampire and her human girlfriend. I have Deep Sea Mermaids discussing job satisfaction, and my current project that's every other Saturday. This Saturday is an update day, is One Mystery Treat, Gay Seeker Admirer romance comic. I haven't really thought about comparing it to Pretty Woman, but we shall see during this conversation.
Pretty Woman.
And I posted the same link twice. That's fun for me.
You're going to hear me say that
that's me.
Song 8,000 times.
Oh, my poor coworker. I told her that we were watching it, and she was like, God damn it, you got it stuck in my head, and it happened several days. But yeah, that's me. CB is your turn.
Hello. I'm C.B. Ferrenz, queer fantasy author and screenwriting major. My channel was on hiatus, but is now back. I alternate weeks with Sam on hosting Whip Wednesdays, where we try and get stuff done. For me, that alternates between homework, which is still writing because I'm a screenwriting major, or working on our novels, or just whatever you need. If we like chat, whatever they need to be. Whatever you need to do to feel productive. This week is my week, so you can join us over there at my link, which is linked. Nope, channel, which is linked. Whew, I did not take my ADHD meds today.
Just link to your channel.
Down below and in the chat at this Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to get some stuff done. Yeah, that's me.
And I am Writing Mom Smith the Unacid. On my channel, I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. I also host live streams like these. And next month, we will be doing a flash fiction free-for-all and a quarterly party. If you want to join us for lots of chatting and watch parties sometimes and stuff, you can go to my Discord by joining via my Ko-fi for $1 a month.
Very fancy.
Of course, so fancy now. But yes, go ahead and share how your weekends were. Sorry, hold on.
What, Tina?
There you go.
The way you reached it looked like you had switched it.
I think CB just touches things and
Storm is right here. And I'm like, she's just out of like comfortable reaching zone. Like
Yeah.
I'm like half an inch away from her. So hi.
CB, you gotta stop switching the cards.
No, right?
How was your weekend, Tina? Oh, there's me.
Mine was good. I went to the museum with a friend, and we did a mad dash to the ancient Greek section when there was 20 minutes left to close. And then I went to dinnery lunch with my family, and my dad gave me an entire Google Home Nest, like the fancy ass one with the screen that he got for free at work. So now I just have fancy tech in my kitchen. But yeah, it was a fun weekend.
I
You went hiking?
I went hiking. Yep. Okay, no. Saturday, I think I slept a lot. No, my friend slept a lot. I did a lot of laundry. Most of our washer and dryer are broken. So to do laundry, I had to do like 6 loads or like 6 individual. And I had my
no.
sheets ripped. But my parents sent me new ones, which woohoo.
Nice.
So I've been having to clean them like the same day that I like changed them. And then I like had to clean my comforter and blankets and like plus laundry, and it's winter, so all my laundry like sweaters and stuff. So it's bulkier and it's just and like half of our washer and dryers are broken. And that's for like over 100 people use the same dozen. Which is just not good math. And then I went over to my friend's house and we just like did some studying together. And then on Sunday, my same friend and I went on a shit ton of hikes all around the area. We ended up going on 3 separate locations. Our original first hike, which was supposed to take like 2 hours, we had to change because it's New York in the winter. And even though it was a pretty warm day, all the trails are covered with ice because we were going along waterfall hikes in the gorges. And so all the water that sprays from the freezes, we almost wiped out so many times. And that was on the trails that were like allowed us to go on rather than the stair trails or the ones we wanted to go on with like lots of elevation, because we probably, wouldn't have ended well. So we went on a couple smaller hikes instead of our bigger one that we wanted to go on. But it was really pretty. I finally got to see like the waterfalls in the area. We took a bunch of pictures, which I still have to get from her because we took them mostly on her phone because my phone's older than hers. But it was absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous because they're gorgeous and it's gorgeous. But one of them, the way the water was falling,
we need to get started talking about the movie soon.
There was ice all around. The way the ice from the force of the waterfall cracked, it looked like there was a cave underneath the waterfall, but I don't think there actually was one. But it was really pretty and really cool. So that's what I did.
Awesome. All right. So for those who don't know, because it has been a while since we did a Let's Talk Movies of any kind, today will be talking about Pretty Woman, which is a movie that was made in the late 80s, came out March 1990. It is starring Julia
Roberts.
Yes, thank you. I was going to combine the Julias or like mix them up. But yes, it was starring Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. It is largely considered to be the career-making movie for Julia Roberts. And I'm going to endeavor to remember to use the term sex worker every time. The movie itself uses different terms, but I will try to stick to sex worker. But it is about a sex worker who meets a million or billionaire. And yeah, he pays for her company for a week, and then there's this like feel goodsy, romancy thing that goes on, and then they end up together at the end of the movie after a romantic grand gesture. So, the first thing that I want to know is, what did y'all think, and did you enjoy it or not? I will save mine for last.
CB, you go first because I want to grab a drink and a snack.
Okay. And
I can still hear them.
overall, yeah, I did enjoy it. Very much so. I have like problems with it. Not.
Oh, it's okay. We'll get to those. So, I mean, you can say what your problems are, just touch on them lightly, and we'll go more in detail later.
I didn't like the ending. Yeah. Among like other things, but we can get on more later. Overall, yes, it made me laugh. Like, it made me actually like chuckle to myself quite a few times. I enjoyed the humor. Julia Roberts is amazing. Yeah, I just love her. She's such a good actress. Not really. I would not prefer the original ending, Chris.
Hold on. I have a whole a banner for the original ending and concept. So
yeah,
we'll get into that. I'm gonna star this comment for later.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. I was slightly disappointed in a lot of it, but not surprised because it was the 90s. I didn't know anything about
the 80s actually. I would like to, like, it is known as a 90s rom-com, but it was written, filmed, casted, and everything in the 80s. It didn't come out until early 1990. So it's a product of the 80s more so than the 90s.
It's a product of the olden days, so I'm not surprised.
White movies.
A lot of the issues.
Freaking damage here, Jesus.
I didn't know the plot at all. I only knew that she was in it, and I had seen clips of it before, like on TikTok and stuff. I'm pretty sure it was required viewing for one of my classes, or like suggested viewing, because we couldn't watch it in class, or they decided not to because it'd be kind of awkward.
Huge, big.
But yes, I did enjoy it. Yeah, that's my answer to the question. I really like Julia Roberts. She's really pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I basically have the same opinion as CB. This is my second time viewing it. I watched it once with a friend a couple years ago, and it was kind of on my list of like classic movies I didn't get to see when I was too young for them, because my dad was very good at the age restriction. But yeah, no, love Julia Roberts in it. It's one of those things where like even on the rewatch, and there was lines that like I knew were coming up, they still got me. But yeah, and the little Julia, the every
that
time.
was improv.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a weird editorial cut right there, is because like he wasn't supposed to do that in the script, but Richard Gere and Julia Roberts got along so well that they did a lot of things like that. And the director just loved Julia's like genuine reaction of surprise and then laughed so much they were like, oh, we're
you can tell she goes and looks at the like crew.
She's like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah. I read that, I like looked up like fun facts and stuff. I read that a lot of the script overall, or a lot of the scenes were improv or had a like majority improv like bits in them. And I think that definitely does show up and is enjoyable because of the like comedic timing and the like relaxation of the film overall. Like it didn't take itself too seriously. Which made that work.
So I still greatly enjoyed this film. This was actually mine and Chris's Valentine watch from like the first year we were married until I think a couple years ago. It's Valentine's Day just became less important to celebrate on Valentine's Day, so we just kind of like forgot. But as with y'all, I've always had some hangups about a couple things and stuff, which we'll talk about. But overall, I still think it's a great movie. I do think that I would not enjoy this movie enough if it had two different leading actors, because they did have some amazing chemistry, which does like lead to a lot of like the improv or stuff, and like the scene where she's watching I Love Lucy and he like physically moves to another chair, and Richard Gere doesn't even remotely face the TV at all. Edward is just like watching Vivian.
Yeah.
There are no other actors. I'm just saying the same script and the same premise with other leading actors, I don't think would have worked nearly as well.
Are we talking about the chemistry now?
Yes, we're talking about.
Okay, so I understand from a acting viewpoint, the chemistry between them was fantastic. The entire movie, I got a major ick. Oh my god! I was really like, because Julia Roberts was a year older than I am when they filmed this. So like she was 22 when it came out or something like that. I'm 21. He's 40. I think the actor is. I don't know.
I mean,
I was like.
There's a reason the hotel staff and everybody was like, "That's your niece." You
know, I know, but it was like they'd be like, being all cute, and I'd be like, "Aw," and then they'd like turn and like get a really good shot of his gray hair, which he rocks. He's a very handsome man. And
he's known as being a silver fox.
Like snap back into how old this man is. He's not old, but comparatively, they have like 18 years, which is a minor to a major, like an adult between them.
He is technically old enough to be her father, yes.
Yeah.
That is how Hollywood casting like still does, but it was especially back in. That reminds me, I had very similar ick when I was watching The Fifth Element, because Layla is like so much younger. Like I genuinely, but the only difference is like for Pretty however you think her name is, you are probably right. But like
it ends with an O.
It might, like I said, I don't like that movie because the romance in it gives me such ick. But I don't think it gives me the ick in Pretty Woman because, like, one, they are both full-grown adults, and two, because their chemistry, it's believable. Like, I believe that these two people could, that age doesn't really play a factor with these two. I think so. Like, but in the Fifth Element, I cannot, because he literally just does not seem interested in her at all.
For me with Fifth Element, and this is a trope that like I know people like, but it really it similar to CB, it gives me the ick the second I see it. That whole thing of like where it's like he is fully grown adult and she is basically a child and like does not know.
Born Sexy Yesterday.
Born Sexy Yesterday. I was like, I know.
I actually I have some commentary on how Pretty Woman doesn't use that one, but I do feel it infantilizes Vivian at points, and that's not okay with me. But
but yeah, no. This age difference though, I think it's a thing of like most of the rom-coms I've seen are from the 80s.
Yeah,
90s. So like it went right over my head. Like, how you guys brought it up, I didn't even notice.
It gives me the ick when it's teenagers, or like when they're like, oh well, they're 18, or oh well, they're 19, and I'm like,
I mean, she can drink, like that makes it better. I think a lot of it for me, where I could still like enjoy the romance and be rooting for them for the majority of the movie. I rooted for their, I don't know. I don't know where to talk about that, but I have complicated thoughts on their romance overall.
Here's the chemistry.
So I wanted her to leave to San Francisco. At the end of the movie, she's like, I'm going to San Francisco. I'm going to go back to high school, like get my degree. I'm going to like do more with my life. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like I didn't want the solution to the movie, them getting it together, and then her life is different, change, fix, better, whatever the term that like the narrative was setting up for it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I wanted her to be able to like stand on her own 2 feet, even if being with him and knowing him like helps that. Like I'm chill with that. But like low key, I kind of want the hotel manager to offer her a job just because I love he was so entertaining as a character. But so when my dream ending would have been her
I think
left.
it's Barney. I think that's his name.
I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Her to have left, get her like be established, and then be like a couple years later they meet back up. They're still in love with each other and they live happily ever after. I'd be like, yeah, woohoo!
He's done the work on himself that he said
he's
he
gotten
needed
more
to
therapy
do.
because he needs more.
I will say, like, excuse you. Much like you, I would have preferred a mix between like the original concept and the cheesy rom-com ending. Because one, it's a rom-com. I want me a cheesy rom-com ending. That's what I am here for. But I would have preferred it if like she and Kit like stayed together, helped each other improve their lives. Because Kit wanted to like she was taking a beauty course at the end, right?
Yeah,
she's talking to that other worker and she's like, now I've got this beauty course that I'm gonna take. So I like that idea that like maybe she and Kit help each other like get education and all of that and do what they want to do in life, right? But like at the same time, Kit seemed happy with what she was doing, like just not stressed. So I don't really want to say like and live a better life so much as just like have more options. And I also like that Kit's perspective on it was that she can't turn tricks forever, which is kind of implying that like she's gonna stick with her work as it is for now, but she wants that fallback. She wants to have a career for when she gets too old for her current career.
Mm-hmm.
My main thing with the ending is that there's a line in the beginning where I think it's his ex-wife is explaining how like, he basically like, bought her a house and kind of just like left her, to herself and her,
it's
and like and the thing is it comes up again with
there's a phrase for it. It's a kept woman. His wife was a kept woman.
And it's a thing of like he, offers to buy her the apartment and basically like you see him almost repeating that same pattern, right? Of like, wanting her and then wanting her kept, right? And I was like, at the end, we never really
they don't really
discuss. But then I was like, but are you just gonna buy her the apartment? Like I would have wanted just like a bit more clarification that like he had changed in some way, in that regard. Like his patterns are still the same.
What changed their relationship between the time that they split up and then the time of the big gesture? Like it didn't feel like anything changed. Like yes, he did the big gesture, whatever. Nothing else. Like nothing changed though, and that was like the big. But what happens next? But not in a like, oh, I wish the story kept going. It's like, oh no, I feel like you didn't finish the story. One more scene is all that was needed.
Yes, but I can't help you get it. I will say for anybody who doesn't know and is interested, a little bit of a trigger warning for like drugs and death mention here is that in the original concept, Vivian was a drug addict, which a lot of the other characters are said to be. Like I know it's the reality of a lot of things, but it's a lot of characters still felt like really like very dismissive of like we see a detective investigating a sex worker's death and the people around are like, oh well, she was a cokehead. And then like later when Vivian's trying to convince Kit that they need to stop working the streets and start doing other things, and like Kit's like, oh well, you could be Cinderella and everything. She's like, well, name somebody that it works for. And Vivian uses the example of Skinny Marie, and I forgot the other one because Skinny Marie is the woman who died at the beginning. And Kit comes back with, oh, well, but those two were just cokeheads. And we also know that Kit herself has a drug addiction because at the beginning, she stole their rent money so that she could buy new drugs and make a payment to Carlos.
And she still owes $200.
Yeah. To Carlos. So I don't like that in the like original concept and ending. Like they're on their way, like Vivian and Kit would be on their way to Disneyland, and on the way to Disneyland, Vivian was going to die of a drug overdose. I'm like, the fuck, bro.
I didn't realize she was supposed to die. I knew they were supposed to go to Disneyland. I realized she was gonna die.
No, she was supposed to die of a drug overdose. So
yeah, it's one of those things where like even though it is like a reality, that like addiction and like street work are really like intertwined for plethora of reasons. It is a thing of like it in media, like it's such a like thing of like, oh, it must be this, the characters must be this way. Same thing of like, and I feel like this movie, it's kind of a tricky thing with the representation of the movie, because on the one hand, it's like they have Vivian as like, as someone who kind of defies the stereotypes of being someone who like, doesn't do drugs, like, is not so like it's obvious that she has like self-worth issues by the way she prices herself. But it's also a thing of like she's not like this tragic figure, which like is a lot of like woe is Cypher is also like such a like like a reoccurring theme in media. But then it is a thing of like, but she's like the narrative rewards her for not being that, like, and everyone else kind of Kit.
She's hashtag not like other sex workers.
Yeah, and Kit kind of rides in the like Kit is, I feel like, is more like like the two of them are actually really good representation. Yeah, like it kind of does across the board of like here's the stereotypes, but then here's defying the stereotypes, and then here's the middle. Like, thinking about it, it's like it actually does a pretty good job at like the range,
I feel
without like villainizing one or the other,
So overall, none of us would have preferred the original ending, but we do think that the actual ending could have been improved.
Well, originally it was a drama, not a rom-com.
Yeah, I know. I'm not saying for rom.
Yes.
I'm just saying in general. Even if I'm watching a drama, I would have rather she not died of a drug overdose, regardless of whether or not she was going to Disneyland.
I think off of what Tina just said, every time or at least from my memory, I watched it like an hour and a half ago, or finished it like an hour and a half ago, or like 2 hours ago. I finished it on time before the stream started.
Yes.
Today.
At exactly this time of day.
Yeah. Most of the times where something like bad is said about sex workers because of like their addiction, like Skinny Marie, or someone's addiction, it's from, I'm so bad with names, the friend, the roommate.
Kit.
Yeah, saying it. Like, Vivian will like...
No, when the detective, like the very first person to say anything negative about sex workers is a random person that a detective is trying to interview.
Yes, but...
And even though they don't have dialogue, the attitude, the looks on their faces, and the way that all of the hotel staff initially treat Vivian, plus the shop workers, and like she's never really respected. Like,
I'm not talking about overall like the rest of the cast. I'm talking about like the sex workers in the story view of like drug addiction and stuff like that.
No.
Is with them, Vivian will be like, this is as far as we can go, or like I want something else, blah blah blah. All the narratives she's constantly pushing, and Kit will like be the like the opposite of that, the foil to that. Like, I want something more, like what more can we do, or like maybe I can do, like be with him, or like, no, I can't be with him because, like, look at us compared to, like, one of us have a happy ending.
Kit isn't ashamed.
Yeah.
And Vivian feels ashamed. Like, Vivian feels like she is accepted, which I'm going to pull up my Vivian banner because I got a lot to say about Vivian. Vivian feels like she is ashamed. She like, I loved at the beginning when she was like, she felt like Kit, but more pragmatic. Because she, you know, she was just like they were both very down to earth. They understood their situation and everything. And Vivian's just like, you can't take our rent money because then we're not going to have anywhere to stay, right? And you especially shouldn't like spend our rent money on drugs. And the thing is, it's not that Vivian's never done drugs, because like when she's caught flossing, she says she hasn't done them since she was 14.
14, yeah.
So it feels like for her, the drugs is more a money issue than anything. She's like, no, I've got more important bills, right?
I spent the first like 5 minutes of her introduction trying to figure out if she was a sex worker too, because I wasn't sure until they were actively on the street. Vivian. Because I was like stereotyping off like the first outfit and the wig, which was so clearly a wig, but it was cute. She still looked good. That we see her in, and then like the way the narrative was like even the view of the camera was like looking at everyone on the streets, like sex workers, not just people like walking around going about their day. Versus her, I was trying to figure out like, where does she fit within this? Because she kind of just like exists almost invisibly in the beginning before he goes and actually talks to Kit.
I will say there are two sex worker stereotypes that Vivian does fit and perpetuate, and it is both the sex worker with a heart of gold and the sunshine sex worker, which I did a lot of research like before today and while I was watching the movie on the different, because this, as like you were saying earlier, Tina, with like the representation and stuff, it's like and it doesn't seem like there is a general consensus on whether or not this movie is good or harmful representation of it, because like Vivian is like the sunshine, or like and she's like the only one explicitly rewarded for this, right? Like the only reason Kit gets any like reward or anything, basically, oh well, now you get to upgrade in life, is because of Vivian, right? And Vivian is only allowed this because she presents the Madonna virgin whore complex, right? She is simultaneously extremely sexually intelligent and experienced, and also infant-like in her understanding of things, which for me, a lot of the time she's infantilized feels like off characterization, because like she's presented to us at first as like she's street smart, she is savvy, she is intelligent, even if she is not book smart. And then the moment she's like with Richard Gere and everything, he's the smart one, she's the naive one, right? Like to the point where she's sitting there, like she very much, like the way she talks to him at first, right? She's like, oh, well, this is a Lotus. It's like, oh, you gotta like, it's got race car things. And she sounds like they're trying to make her accent more urban and everything. And then as she's like talking to him and stuff, she steadily gets more of a Georgian Southern accent.
Well, Julia Roberts
from Georgia.
Is from Georgia, and the reason they gave Vivian Ward that backstory is they were worried about her accent slipping up, because she was doing like an accent coach and she just kept slipping up. So they're like, okay, let's explain.
It's very hard to get rid of it. Yeah. But like it felt like the director or somebody just like, she really leans into it in the scenes where she's being shown to be naive, right?
I didn't get the impression that she was, like, rephrase that she was smart or like exceptionally smart. Or I thought I got the other than the scene, like I got that she was knowledgeable and he was ignorant in the car scene, because that's what it's screaming. And then the first point where I'm like, okay, this is a character who's supposed to be like perceived as smart, despite like in the narrative, despite her
uneducated but intelligent.
It is when she has the like when she's sitting on the ledge and she's having the talk about after the business dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I'm like, I don't know what they, other than her just being like unabashedly herself at the beginning, I don't know what they want us to think is like special about her.
She makes a lot of like small comments and observations and stuff that I feel is supposed to show that she is quite smart.
Okay.
Like I'm not saying that she's like a genius or anything, but she does like I
got like a general awareness from her. Like I loved the way when they were first coming to the hotel and she
I will say she is bad at math and he takes advantage of that, and that's shitty.
Oh my god, yeah. When she got to 11th grade, girly, what? It said she got good grades too. But they have like in the hotel the elevator scene where she's like, oh look, they have a 2-person sofa in here, and she's like
she was playing that shit up.
I know, that was iconic. And I was like, oh my god, like I'm so excited for this. And then she kind of like low-key lost that like unabashedness.
Yeah, she steadily becomes more and more ashamed. It feels like her unabashedness was more a shield than
Yeah, like for me watching it, like I always sort of interpret it as like her putting on, like as you said, like a shield, but like an act of confidence, you know? In order to like, you know, get clients, stay safe, all that sort of thing. And I find it like, I understand what you mean about like her like seeming naive. I think it's also kind of like, I kept noticing the way she like, you know, sits in the chair, very similar to how I am.
I sit, yeah, I was like, she's sitting on everything just like me.
It just like struck me as like, she's just so like endearing. And it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, like I feel like I'd have to watch it again, like with the like you know, taking notes, being like, what part is an act and when does that act slip, you know? Because it does feel like she's putting on a front, right? But yeah, like it is
front though, the like shameless, and then the like, dear me front.
Yeah, I think she also does put on this like act of like, you know, being more like, it's that thing of like, you know, she's trying to appeal to a client, right? And being like, oh, like he likes this and he likes this.
What's
right?
your name? What do you want it to be?
Yeah, exactly. And because yeah, we see her put on that that act again with the hotel manager, like the act. That
I love how Marnie's like, don't play games with me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to be nice to your woman.
And but yeah, I was gonna say something else and then it completely slipped my mind.
They only have one driver at the entire hotel, by the way. He's an everything. He's the only driver. It was making me lose it. I'm like, it's fucking Daryl again.
I love Daryl.
Like, bud, you're the only one. Are you okay?
Daryl's great.
Oh my god! Speaking of the ladies at the store,
I will say, hold on. There was a little red flag though at the end when Bernie's like, "I'll have Daryl drive you." Oh, by the way, he drove Vivian home last night. I'm like, sir, if this wasn't a rom-com,
yeah, that'd be really
danger vibes.
Like,
all right, the shop ladies.
Yeah, the shop ladies. Okay, so on the rewatch, this is one of the things that got me on the rewatch. While I was rewatching, I remembered that they had like, you know, sort of bullied her out of the store. I had completely forgotten that the lady literally turns to her and she hasn't said a thing really. And in her rant being like, you are not accepted here, she says, please leave. And I was like, excuse you, ma'am. Like, because yeah, I forgot how extreme it gets.
How'd you work on commission? Big mistake. Big, huge.
That's the only clip I've seen of the movie. it was someone edited the that in the, I think like one or two other scenes, but her going in the first time and being kicked out, and then the edit was her returning later with all of the stuff and being like, or no, it was they kicked me out, they didn't want me there, blah blah blah, and then or they
I
were
will
mean.
say, I feel like the movie had a lot of good commentary on certain things. It just doesn't do anything about it. It's just kind of like, this is a thing. It's an issue.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, for late 80s, early 90s movie, it's fine. I think that's progressive for its era.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of, like, one of the popular viewpoints for the pro Pretty Woman side from sex workers is that it is a breath of fresh air that the sex workers are not constantly being punished for being sex worker. That the movie neither ignores the gritty side of things, nor does it just punish them for doing it. It does kind of like reward them for moving away from that. So that's like, some people find that like towing the line a little bit, but
I feel like treating her as like the narrative treating her as an object, like, or like sex workers in general as an object, was definitely portrayed in a like poor light. Like, this is supposed to be like multi-dimensional beings, they're people. Don't be a dick. Like, the lawyer was obviously the like, this is our bad guy. But within that, what's his face? Edward wanted a woman who like was there at his beck and call. He could just like not hang out with if he didn't feel like it. And
like, even after he caught feels for her, he was like, "You are my employee."
Yeah,
like, motherfucker, you're not my pimp. And then we have a contract relationship.
But even he's like, in his big apology, I know the girlies like love this sometimes, but it's just not good for me. Like, I was just talking to him. I know I didn't like seeing that, or like I didn't like seeing you with him.
For me, I was like, you know what? It's the self-awareness. It's fine. Like, it's not, but at least he's all like, I didn't like seeing you with him, and she's like, we were just talking, and he goes, I didn't like it. So it's like, he's not trying to justify himself. He's just saying, I am aware, and it is a me problem. It's not your fault. But well, that's probably like, I have seen a lot of movies and stuff where it's like, even after pointing that out, it's still like presented as it's still her fault for talking to him. Whereas with this, he's just because he kind of smirks to himself and he goes, I didn't like it, you know.
Yeah, I don't think it was her fault or ever like betrayed. I think it was more.
Nor should it have been.
Of course.
Excuse me.
I could understand it a little more narratively, not like actually with humans being in a relationship. If the grandson had made any sort of like proposition of her, like even just like flirting.
Well, really, it's Stucky's fault.
Well, yeah, but is it Stucky's fault? I mean, yeah, it is.
He really
like he's talking.
Because Stucky's all like, oh, well, they're over there, like, what, they're best friends or something and stuff, like, because Stucky kept going, Edward fucked up, and then Edward realized he fucked up.
Yeah, but if there was like narratively something like more to some reason, that he
he was completely unjustified. Like, I agree with you that, like, I feel I need to clarify. I'm not defending him there. I was just saying that for me, like, I was glad that he was at least self-aware, but that's like bottom bar.
That's
like I wanted more from that talk. And I think for me, like, that scene, I forgive it because, like, when they go back in the room, Richard Gere silently, like, like he has Edward take her bags to help her, and it's like that little physical gesture. I'm all like, oh, that's cute, and then I like forget that I was upset at him for something unrelated.
For me, I think it's like as a character, he is like mildly forgivable because he's self-aware.
It's Richard Gere.
I mean, I don't care.
No, I mean because he plays him so well.
But yeah, no, it's yeah, and I feel like it's one of those things of like, you know, when you're a fan of like a villain character where it's like, I know he's, you know, not doing the right thing, but I just he knows he's not that. It's fine. Like, you know.
In my opinion,
but if he never did that to me, I'll smack him.
It would be more forgivable if it was harder for him to be forgived within the narrative. Like, I liked their little, like, taking the bags and everything, and then they have them have sex, and then all of a sudden they're in love again. And I'm like, like, I know that's, like, you know, that's part of the job she was doing. But, I mean, narrative, emotionally, I want another beat in there of some tension dissolving, or, like, we have the bags taking, but I feel like there needs to just be a little bit more before I can be like, okay, we can continue along with the romance. Also, the fact that you have less I love you, and I'm like, man, 5 days.
Which it's funny too, because like this movie takes place over like what, a week, but it's 2 freaking hours long.
I'm like,
it's a long ass movie.
Bruh, if I could have less business scenes and more them or Kit DeLuca. I don't dislike the business scenes. I'm just not watching this rom-com for the business scenes.
The fact that this man, in his big business scene, makes the deal with the old man and then just fucking leaves. Doesn't even like touch his people.
He's like, hey.
I was like, that's iconic.
And then he just leaves and literally he goes to go touch grass. He like,
I know.
Love it for him.
I was like, that's great. I love that.
It was so random.
I like how, so like one of the articles that I was reading is actually kind of funny. It's the article's called something like, I'm 24 and I just watched Pretty Woman for the first time. And like one of the things it says is you excuse me. They're like, I really enjoy this movie, but you have to leave your feminism at the door. And I was like, you're not wrong. And then one of the things that one of the articles pointed out is that this movie, they're like, it's a lot more focused on Edward, on Richard Gere's character, right? Like we know his daddy issues, we know his like a bunch of different stuff. And I'm like, if you actually listen to Vivian talk, you also learn a lot, Vivian. I mean, I don't disagree that it is more focused on him, but like you still learn a lot about her. And like I like how when she's like fixing his tie and she's like, I screwed the debate team, and he took her serious for a moment, and she's like, I had a grandpa. Like, he likes wearing a tie on Sundays. Like,
one thing I do enjoy about Edward is he just rolled with the punches.
He did. It was just like whatever she said.
It was like, oh, okay.
He's like, I'm trying. His eyebrow is working so hard to try not to judge her. But then later, like, cause it like establishes right there that she had a really good relationship with her grandfather, right? She spent a lot of time with him. She helped him with his tie on Sundays. And then at the business dinner, she bonds with the grandpa.
Yeah. That grandpa was just coming in like clutch for everyone's like daddy issues. Him saying like, I don't know if this is crossing the line, but I'm proud of you. I could just like hear Edward's like daddy issues being like, oh my god,
I have a new dad proud of me. I like this dad saying, what the hell are we gonna do? Me and Mr. Lewis are gonna build boats, big boats.
Apparently it was like that actor's last ever appearance on film.
Oh, well, it was a good one.
Sad, but it was a fun fact. This is not fun.
This is not fun. It was his final performances.
Another fun fact, both Winona Ryder and I think it was Drew Barrymore were auditioned for the role of Vivian Ward, but they were both cut because on account of being too young. And I'm like, yeah. Because at least Julia Roberts, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm used to her being older, but like her face like has a maturity about it. But both of them, both Winona Ryder and Drew Barrymore, have baby faces. And so I think it'd be like, see the baby faces with whatever the fuck his name, Edward. She's so
like.
Sorry, Julia Roberts is just so pretty. And like,
I know, right?
Her beauty is so different from like I think modern day. Like, no, I don't want to be like one of those like modern day beauty standards. Blah, 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 blah. But her face is just so interesting in like its beauty. Like it's not. It's very. And I
think she's referred to as a classic she's got a classic Hollywood look to her, but in an era of the 80s and 90s. So she doesn't look classic Hollywood, but her bone structure is, and it just creates a very interesting. Because like one of the things is I think Julia Roberts has been compared to Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, I think
she's watched Audrey Hepburn movies in the movie, which was funny.
Oh yeah, and in like the movie she was watching, it was like because like classic 100% younger women, older men, like without a doubt. All the movies she was watching were younger women and older men. I was just like
May December romances.
Yeah.
There was something else I was gonna say. I was gonna add. Hold on.
I'm glad.
Go ahead. I'll let you know. You're glad he what?
Like I've watched versions like spin-offs, not spin-offs, but you know, copies of Pretty Woman where the older man has kids that are like closer to her age than she is to his. And that always makes me wildly uncomfortable. So I'm glad he didn't have kids. And I'm glad we didn't like hyper focus on the fact that he's like a divorcee, whatever. He's divorced or anything. Like as much relationships, other than just like establishing his like modus operandi.
I appreciate when she takes her boots off, she has stockings on. Because my God, do I hate it when in movies or something people take their boots off and they are barefoot, and I am like,
oh,
what the fuck?
Originally her taking her boots off wasn't in the script, but those boots were so uncomfortable that they included it so that she didn't have to wear the boots while filming. Also, I love the fact that she has an array of condoms in her boots.
Oh, the condom buffet! I love the safety buffet.
That was so funny. Well, but she puts her money in her left boot, I think, and then has the condoms in the right, and then she takes her boots off, and I'm like, girlie, your money and your condoms. They're over there.
I'm pretty sure she would have stuffed the stockings. Yeah, she would have stuffed them in her stockings and then stuffed her stockings in her toes.
Okay.
I do love the fact that, like, you know, he sits there for a second, and she's like, the money? Like, it's good.
He's like, oh, right. I'm sensing time is going to be an issue. Like, I'm like, sir, you are a businessman, and you are taking advantage of her math.
Oh my God,
I hated that.
The pricing she gives, and it's a thing of, like, I know that, like, what they're getting at is that, like, she undervalues herself, but her rates are significantly below what they should have been, even accounting for inflation. And so every time she says the numbers, I get mad, so mad on her behalf, because I'm like, girl, he's a billionaire.
Well, even with the rate she gave, right? She's like, $100 an hour. And then he's like, okay, what about for all night? And she's like, $300. And I'm like, so you're only going to be there for 3 days or 3 hours?
No, yeah. Standard night is like 6-7 hours.
He's like, he's like, done.
And he's just like, okay. I'm
and
like,
then
sir.
He mentions the 100 hours like a couple times, like, oh, I don't know if I can handle that. And I'm like, sir, you were taking advantage of her and you know it.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so at first when he does it, I'm like, okay. He is essentially, he's supposed to be a morally corrupt businessman because he makes his money buying other people's businesses and tearing them apart. Which, for me, I'm like, that's not necessarily the part that makes it morally corrupt for me, because like it's fine. It's the fact that like when these businesses, because we're shown in the movie, when like they find a way to not need to sell their business, Cooper and him are actively using like corrupt politicians and stuff to block paperwork to cancel contracts. I'm like, and he's like, this is where I say you're shady.
He was also going like, when he revealed it to the old guy, and he was like, well, I might have exaggerated about whether or not it's been canceled. And they were like, haha, I got him. I'm like, you didn't check into that? Like, it was just delayed? Like, what the hell? I'm sorry. Storm, is that alarming you? I'm refilling my water bottle.
Well, like, they might not have had the resources to check into that, if it was like delayed or not. Because like, when they originally like told them basically that it was delayed or it was buried in something, the grandson was like, how did you do that? What, you got corrupt politicians in your pockets now or something? So I don't think
the answer is yes, they have corrupt politicians.
I don't think that they had the resources to double check these facts.
The legality of everything that was happening. I'm like, I don't know enough about
I turned my brain off. I was like, no, this isn't my
like, should we worry about like the cops coming in at some point, like within the plot, like overall?
I like how
C.B. There's no cops involved.
There's that one detective who cared about Skinny Marie. Yeah, that was it.
His crimes.
Oh, to hit, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
that poor detective. He's just trying to figure out. He's like, was she fighting with her pimp? Like, what's going on? And dude's like,
he was probably
she's doing drugs. And it's like, well, dude, what do you do? And he's like, no, oh, cool. Yeah, you ain't catching me like that. He's like, I'm just trying. The tourists are taking a picture of that. He's like, we got tourists out here taking
a picture. What are you, like, press? And they're like, no, we're from, I think they said somewhere in Canada. I don't remember where they said.
I think they said Orlando.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was something with vowels.
Are we sure?
If they had been Canadian, I would have been immediately like, yeah! Representation.
Yeah! You take pictures of a dead girl's body.
That's the rep Tina wants for Canadians.
Look, we only get so much rep.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a corpse stone.
What are we gonna do?
The way I was like, they got on the plane, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are taking a plane to go on a
date. I'm like, bruh.
She's like, I've never been on a plane. And I'm like, how'd you get from Georgia to LA? Bus?
Presumably.
Fair. Okay, fair. But I was like, damn, that's a long time.
I liked the very, very 80s joke of when like one of at the Derby polo. What were they doing? Polo at the polo match. And somebody was like, oh, Vivian's a delight. Where did you find her? And he's like 976 babe. Because that's how phone number services in the 80s used to be. They used to try real hard to spell words out.
They still do that, don't they?
Not as often.
I feel it's like, cheesy insurance companies or lawyers.
Who still use their marketing from the 80s.
Pizza places.
When she snapped back at one of the women sitting at the Derby or whatever, and said something about, I'm just there for the fuck, for a good fuck or something like that. I was like, iconic. 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And you guys saying that you guys think that her like being like brash like that is a front makes me kind of sad. I was like, that was so fun. I love that.
No, I think it's a mix.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I think it's a mix.
Yeah, I think it's the thing of like it's one of those things where like very similar to like I feel like actors in general like where it's like you're taking like an aspect of your personality and amplifying it, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what she's doing, right? Where she's really leaning into being really like brash and honest, right? When she is someone who like
very
is like
Very,
very like comfortable with acting herself.
I feel like she's
inside it.
very like the times when that comes out as the most genuine to me is when she is the most Southern to me, like right after the opera, and the old lady is like, "Oh, what did you think of it?" And she's like, "Oh, I liked it so much, I almost pissed my pants," and then like walks off.
I didn't like it as much as the Pirates of Penzance. I was like, that was
Yeah,
hilarious.
you can see the old lady going,
I don't think so.
I love that part.
I had canon her having ADHD or like some variant thereupon with like the fidgeting and like I don't know. I just felt like I saw that in her.
Could be.
Also,
hello, Mimi.
Hello.
But that could also be them being one to make her more immature and having her do the fidgeting and stuff like that, and distractibility.
More uncouth, because the other thing is there's classism. I would also like to lightly touch upon the fact that we only hear. Well, actually, I'm gonna strike that. She's the only white service worker we see or know of, because presumably Kit DeLuca is Spanish. Carlos is a bit dark-skinned. Skinny Marie could go either way. So
there was the one who was
What do
on
we
their
think?
turf.
What do we
who
like?
was on their turf. That's fair.
Yeah, the really tall
What?
one.
Sam said, "I want to lightly touch upon the fact," and then my entire screen froze and I heard nothing else.
Oh, that from what I can remember, all of the people of color were in roles of servitude.
Oh yeah,
100%. Or the sex workers, because like Daryl, love Daryl, he's a driver.
There was
anybody with darker skin were definitely bellhops or
bellhops,
ushers, and then Kit and Carlos, both I think were Latin. Skinny Marie is an unknown. we don't could go either way with the name Marie.
The only one we
the tall one.
who's the tall one who's on their turf.
This is an asterisk that I don't remember I don't remember the ladies that were sitting around Carlos, because I do know one of them was definitely like, "Do you like her, Carlos?" But I don't remember when.
There was also two at the very beginning, but they didn't have lines. I think at least one of them was white. But obviously that doesn't make yeah. I mean, having all the business guys being white could have been a commentary, but after that, it's kind of like, what's your commentary? It was actually there.
I will say, while the shopping scene is criticized a little bit sometimes because it's like the A perspective on the shopping sequence is that like it's really good initial commentary on the fact that like they profile and make judgments, but then also she is only able to basically go throw it in their face because she has a millionaire in her pocket, and most people who are profiled or judged don't have a millionaire in their pocket. I'm like, but that to me feels like fantasy fulfillment more than anything. Is that it's like showcasing it, but then also allowing people to vicariously flip the middle finger. And I know I get a lot of vicarious living through that scene, especially since it prefaces it with when Edward's like, people or like workers don't suck up to people, they suck up to credit cards. And then he walks in and he's like, we are making a lot of purchases and I need people to like suck up to her. And then he's got to leave for business and he's like, I'm leaving, she has my card. And I love that one manager. It's like, we will help her spend it. Wait, how much money are we spending? An obscene amount or offensively obscene or something like that. And he's
prolific.
offensively
I like that.
obscene. And he goes, I love him.
I respect the shit out of that one guy because she was like, I think Edward liked that tie, and he's like, take off your fucking tie.
I felt bad for that man. Like,
Oh my god.
a gift from his mother. Like, what?
And then the fact that she wore the tie and nothing else, that was.
That was good.
How was your day, dear? I like the tie.
I had a
So
thing to
good.
say. Let's see if my
go ahead.
brain can remember it. When I had seen, so like I said earlier, the only clips in the movie that I had seen were the ones about the shop and everything, and her being rejected, and then her coming back. Within those clips, they do mention the uncle. So my like oblivious ass totally thought from those clips. So like before I realized it was the same movie, that she was like a secret heiress or something like that. And so I was like, damn. Or like that's just the way she liked to dress. And she comes in later and like shoves it up like anyways.
I can't remember her name, but I love her. Like, I love Barney and the whatever her name was from Women's Clothing. Beverly?
I don't know.
Oh, no. We're calling her Beverly. We got B&B. I love those two. Like, one, they've got some sort of mild flirtations going on. You can tell by the way they smile. But also because he's like, yes, I have a niece of a very important guest, and she needs something to wear. And then, like, as they're going, and she's like, oh, yeah, we'll find something that your uncle likes and this and that. And she goes, he's not really my uncle. And she's like, oh, they never are. These two, this is not their first rodeo.
But I was kind of disappointed when I found out that like I was thinking about like what you mentioned earlier. The only reason she is able to fulfill this wish from them and shove it back in their face is because like it's someone else's money kind of thing.
Also, she probably spent more in clothing than you paid her for the week.
Oh yeah. I'm like, girl, you sell it off.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's part of why she was taking everything. At least I would.
That's why Kit asks if she keeps the clothes.
Yeah.
But
I like how I love her and Kit's friendship. I know that like I feel like it's a genuine friendship, right? It's got ups and downs, pros and cons and everything. But like I really love how they're, every time they say they part, they're like, take care of you. And like I just think that's so cute. And then when she's like, she gives Kit money and Kit's like, what's this for? And she's like, the Edward Lewis Foundation, because like we believe in you, we think you've got real potential. And Kit like completely drops her attitude and everything, and just like in probably the first 100% genuine moment in the movie, it's just like, you think I got potential, like you believe in me. I almost fucking cried watching it before the stream. I was like, oh my god, I don't know why that hit me so hard just now. I've seen this movie 20 times. So
yeah, I don't know.
I love those two.
I think overall I liked it, but like a lot of the individual scenes were really good, but I think as a whole, the issues become like more obvious or like more. But I do like it was fun. Apparently, another fun fact: I think the same guy that made this made the adaptation, of course, of Princess Diaries. It was the director because the guy that catches the snail. They hired the same actor for Princess Diaries and Princess Diaries 2 to do the same bit.
I love how she's like, sorry, and he goes, happens all the time. And like, you can believe him because he caught that snail so well.
That was the bit. Like, they took that bit from Pretty Woman and did it in Princess Diaries and Princess Diaries 2 because it went over so well and was so funny. With the same actor that catches them. And I'm like,
that is like, could you imagine having that in your resume? Professional snail catcher. So yeah, professional escargot.
Speaking of like other movies, one of the things I thought about, because I don't think I had seen Legally Blonde when I watched Pretty Woman the first time around, but this time around I was like, oh, like this scene like of her, like being rejected and then going back to the shop is kind of like an echo of the scene in Legally Blonde where the shopkeep tries to like what's it like the shopkeep like turns to the other clerk and is like, watch this, and proceeds to like rip the tag off of a dress and then presents it to her as being like, this dress is this salon and we just got it in and she looks at it, looks at the guy and is like, no, that's like a last season dress, you could tell by the stitching but
yeah, I was gonna say it's very likely that the Legally Blonde scene might have been inspired by Pretty Woman and everything. But I wanted to double check the release date before I said that.
The moral of the story is that
2001. What did you say about tube tops?
I said the moral of the story is that people who work in shops are apparently evil.
Oh, I thought you said tube tops are evil. I was like, who tube tops?
I mean, I don't like tube tops, but I don't
that. Like, I wasn't about to defend or agree because I'm very neutral on tube tops. I just did not recall seeing anyone in a tube top in the movie, so I was confused. I will say Kit's outfit when she like shows up at the hotel with the leopard print bra and the I'm all like,
it's so fucking ugly. I know that you love it, but I hate it so much.
Dare you?
I know that you love leopard print, but I hate leopard print.
There was wait, hold on.
The truth comes over
it.
I'm trying to think of.
I
really love her outfit, Vivian's outfit when they do the polo, like with the polka dot dress and the little white hat. Oh, and the little gloves.
I normally hate polka dot, but that polka dot.
I like her outfit that she wears, then is judged horribly by everyone. Like her sex worker
outfit. It's a good outfit.
It's so
a great
cute.
outfit. The sex worker fashion is great. CB's not allowed to have opinions on leopard print, but otherwise, it's the
fact that nowadays no one would bat a fucking eye at anyone wearing that outfit. Like the thigh-high leather boots.
Depending on where you were in the U.S. in the late 80s, early 90s, also no one would bat an eye.
Depending
on where you were.
With like the ring in the middle. I was sitting there being like, can I knit that? Like,
I need to know.
I loved it. It looks
like
so
I don't want it, but I need to know if you can knit it.
Also,
it would be quite the mission.
She is so beautiful. And he's so like, meh. I mean, he's fine. But like
he was very popular as a silver fox. I don't particularly find him handsome or unattractive, but his acting skill is
his face is attractive and everything. It's just they were doing like the sex scenes and just like these beautiful like pan shots of her. And then like the pan shots of like his back. But the thing is the shots of him weren't artful. Like they did these
They weren't. They did not care to make him look good. I felt so bad for him. There's like,
what are you doing?
There's parts where he's laying and he's like scrunched up and stuff, and I'm like, sir, like you not that I think that he like has to be like super built or fit or anything, but there were like shots and angles where you could tell he was, and then other times when they're like supposed to be a little sexy, and I'm like, they did not put effort into making him look appealing. They were just like
the lighting design
like it
was just like no.
They're like, I don't care. They were jealous. They were like, I'm not making him look better than he is.
According to the fun facts, Julia Roberts was like super nervous about doing the sex scenes and everything. The director ended up getting in the bed with them, which I'm like, what the fuck? That would not make me less nervous. But she broke out in hives and stuff.
I think the director in that instance was acting as the intimacy coordinator, so it probably made her much.
Doing the little thing that was like, I got in the bed with them, and I'm like, what the fuck?
But yeah, so that's the intimacy coordinators are I'm just sharing this information with the general public. Intimacy coordinators are a fairly new thing to the industry. I follow one on YouTube. She's great. And it is basically now their job to advocate for actors on sex scenes and stuff, and to communicate between the actors and the directors and stuff.
Really, any physical scenes, even if it's like just like a really intense hug or a kiss or anything.
Yeah, physically intimate scenes, because like fights and stuff, that's the fight coordinators.
Yeah.
Hold on. When was Game of Thrones? I think it's a really important
task. I know that when in my theater experience in my last college, there was a makeout scene in the script. Like, I was fully supposed to climb into another actor's lap and we were supposed to make out. That didn't make the cut, or that got cut because we didn't have an intimacy coordinator, and they were kind of worried about it because it's a college and it's still a performance and all this stuff. So it ended up just being like we held each other in our arms and did like a stunt thing. But it is, I think it's important, even though as like creatives, it can be viewed as like it getting in the way, but if you're having that thought, you need to like press it to the side and be like, but this is for your actors' safety, their comfort, their willingness, their work won't be as good in a practical sense if they're
not just the actors, but also for the crew and stuff, because there will be some actors and stuff who are like so comfortable with themselves and everything, they're just fine standing around naked, but like the crew isn't necessarily gel with that. So intimacy coordinators will also advocate for like those actors to wear robes in between takes.
So I had a friend recently
crew is also comfortable
who didn't understand the concept of a closed set. They're like, it's so weird that the actor like wanted a closed set, and I'm like, sweetie, I like explained it. I was like, that is like they're doing this thing, they want privacy. Why they do it? And it's like, why do they want privacy? It's going to be filmed anyways. And I'm like, it's
I didn't know what a closed set was until
basically everyone leaves the set except like very minimal personnel.
Yeah, bare minimal crew.
Yeah.
Intimacy coordinators are like such a new-ish thing that they did not have them on Game of Thrones, which I wanted to go back and check when Game of Thrones was first like started filming.
It was started because of Outlander. The guy that played Jaime, he was one of like the big advocates for having intimacy coordinators after he had to do not just sex scenes but more intense stuff. And he was like, this is not okay, and he became a big voice for it, which is what like feminism has been saying for years.
Jason Momoa had actually had to act as an advocate for who plays Daenerys Targaryen.
Oh God, what's her name?
Amelia
something.
Amelia Clark.
Yes, Clark. For Amelia Clark, like he was young. Oh yeah, he advocated for her like at every turn, and he would basically like he gave her a robe because like the directors and stuff were just gonna make her stand around naked, and he was like, no. He was like, are you cold? You uncomfortable? Like before everything they did, he would always check in with her comfort, always with that. And basically he was like, if she wasn't comfortable with it, he would be the one to stand up and be like, no, we're not doing it, or we're not doing it like this. And like
he had to do that, but it's great of him.
Yeah, it's that's like that's a situation that largely proves why intimacy coordinators are like so important. And it is it's a great thing that he did stand up and advocate for her like that, because her experience could have been so much worse if not.
I was thinking about that during the sex scenes. Because I don't know the like history of like personal like protective gear, or I know it's the wrong term, but during sex scenes, like I know some stuff like nowadays, different like tools that are used during these scenes, but I don't know in the past.
Socks have always been a thing.
Yeah, but I
that's what they're called.
The way you just went socks.
I'm trying to remember because I do know the history, so I'm sitting here trying to remember the terms. But sorry, go ahead, CB.
Yeah, but like I know the fact that like in the scene there's like a shot where it's very brief, but there's a flash where you can see the full front of like top upper half front of Julia Roberts or her body double or whatever they're doing for the scene, and stuff like that. Like like I was curious what measures did they take in the past, and I kind of want to do research into that as a film student, and because I want to know, and I think it's interesting.
I'll link you to the intimacy coordinator that I follow on YouTube.
Okay.
But, yeah, the original ones I think were just socks, and I cannot remember the term for them, but they are essentially vagina wigs.
Okay.
But I can't remember the term. Yes, I think they're Birkins.
I think it's called a merkin.
Okay.
Or not Birkins, Merkin.
Merkin, yeah.
Yeah, let me check. Merkin.
I'm just thinking Birkenstocks now. I'm like,
no, Merkins are pubic wigs. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So those were like the primary forms of protection.
Yeah.
Like
not
originally.
where I was expecting this conversation about Pretty Woman to go.
Well, look,
sex scenes.
I will bring this, like, because I've been meaning to bring it back into the fact that, like, I am really glad that this predominantly wholesome rom-com, that the main, like, the actor and the actress were so comfortable with the director that the director could seemingly, because this is our assumption, act as an intimacy coordinator before intimacy coordinators were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they probably worked well together because all three of them did another movie a couple years later. Runaway Bride, 1999. 10 years later.
Because she got tired of Edward's ass.
No, and that one,
unofficial sequel.
She runs away, and he's a journalist in it. She's the runaway bride, and he's a journalist. I don't know. I kind of want to watch.
Oh yeah, I have seen that movie. I just do not remember what it is about.
You know what? Completely unrelated. Great rom-com. Decoy Bride has David Tennant in it. Has a runaway bride in it, and a journalist. It's probably like slightly related, but it's fine. Such a good movie. David Tennant in Scotland, but he's not allowed to do a Scottish accent because he's playing an American, I think. This man's not allowed to do his accent in anything.
CB, your like chain of like runaway bride to decoy bride was reminding me of the movie Imagine Me and You. Have either of you guys heard of it?
Nope.
Oh, that might be a good one for Let's Talk. It's a sapphic rom-com where the couple is the bride and the florist.
And
I was gonna say the floor. I was like, what is this?
The florist. No, this is not like the Chuck Tingle with the door or whatever. I don't know. But no, the florist. And I think I'm like, I can't remember who plays in it, but there is some like yeah, the chemistry is good, but you're sitting there like Imagine Me and You. It's really good. It's real juicy.
I feel like I have seen a thing for this. I've seen
they
a
make
thing for
eyes
this.
across the supermarket, and they both, I think the florist also has a boyfriend, but like the bride is totally like her husband's right there and she's like making eyes. The florist is making eyes, but she has that, and you're like
I don't love cheating stories.
Tina, this is obviously two gals being pals. Like, I don't know.
The thing is that like there is a lot of lesbian media that revolves around like or involves cheating, and it just I'm the same way.
I know the history reason for that though, and why I will forgive cheating in sapphic media more so than any other media. As in, I will forgive it. Period.
I don't particularly like it.
And that is because it's the whole hetero default, where women were assumed to be straight, and like any sapphic feelings that they had toward other women were just, oh, that's just how women, like, that's how everybody feels about women. Everybody thinks women are pretty and have dreams about kissing women's soft lips and stuff as they marry a man. Right? Like, there is that whole thing societally and everything. And so, like, it's sort of like a coping. It's very similar to the reason that a lot of straight women obsessively wrote about gay men as a way to like project and cope with their own sexualities.
Mhm.
It's a lot of women would write about women in straight seeming relationships and then like discovering, oh, I am in fact not straight, or I am into this woman more so than I am into a man. Does Sam wish everybody would break up first and then pursue their true sexualities? Yes, but that's just not how things are.
The
I
problem
hope
I have.
there's a fanfic out
I
there where
have-
Vivian and Kit run off together. There must
Oh,
be.
That was my thing. I was
There
like,
must
I love
be. I want it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
I'd be okay with that.
AO3.
That's the real ending I need. Is
Well-
instead of him and Vivian, Tina has just solved.
They kill him off and
the
run off with his
problem.
money.
They kill him off.
You know what? I would be okay with by Queen Vivian and Richard comes in every now and then, and it's like an on and off again romantic. It's an open relationship with him.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
sometimes
Vivian's
Vivian X.
And Kit keeps her company. There we go.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Like Kit's her wife, and he's her on and off again boyfriend who spends money on them. Sorry, CB, go on. Tina and I are
I want to say
workshopping the
about
movie.
the sapphic cheating stuff. I think part of it that like with me is with, especially when they're in hetero relationships and then they be gay as the cheating, is like close to. I think it's just like it gets a little close to the assumption that if a bisexual person's in a relationship or a hetero relationship, then they'll cheat or ditch you for the member of their same sex, which is like not true, but it's something that at least like I see a lot and have like slightly experienced, and I think it just gets too close to that in my head. Even if these women are lesbian and they have no interest in men, they're just not aware of that.
There are unfortunately lots of instances in like history and media where things are inspired or come from sources of truth that then get like what is the word I'm looking for? Blown out of proportion. That is what I was gonna say. Blown out of proportion and stuff. So
Yeah.
Also, Mimi, if I remember correctly, the boyfriend dumps her when she has the intervention. Like, I don't think they're together when she gets put in the.
This sounds
program.
correct. I will say I have blocked this movie from memory, but Tina has what Tina said sounds like it like sparks it a little bit. I live in.
Someone
let's talk, and I accidentally described it as lighthearted. It's very dark humor.
Well, it wasn't the dark humor. It's that everybody. No, it's that everybody who was doing the Let's Talk either has religious trauma or lives in an area where we have a lot of friends who have religious trauma, and none of us were forewarned that the movie would deal with religious trauma.
It didn't even occur to me.
It's okay. It's okay.
I know.
I think I saw someone recently had "But I'm a Cheerleader" in their top 5 movies ever watched. I'm like, oh, are you good? Are you okay?
If you don't have religious trauma or like know people with religious trauma, I could see how like that movie is just a fun, good, campy, good time for you. Like I still had a good time watching it but like also I was like, this is a little. There are things, but
for the longest time,
again,
I knew RuPaul as from that movie.
What from that movie?
From But I'm a Cheerleader. Like that's how I knew him for ages.
Dante Basco, Zuko's in it. Zuko's voice acting.
Zuko, yeah. See, again, I would not have been able to tell you any of these facts, but I remember them now that they are stated. I suddenly remember RuPaul being there. Hold on. You know what is some sapphic stories that don't involve cheating? Tina's got a comic with vampire girlfriends. To my knowledge, nobody cheats.
Nobody cheats.
Mermaid one, right? Is that a romance? Tina,
wait, hold on. I do want to add a little fun fact for you guys. I did I might include it later, but I did originally have where the vampire does in fact murder a dude for trespassing on the lawn, but that's the closest they get to cheating, really. Which is to say, not at all.
Pretty far.
That's the only time a man's
Murder's
really
the closest I get to cheating, babe. Love you for it. Also, I am writing a sapphic Jaguar shifter pit fighter story that has no cheating anymore.
One mystery
So.
treat has things. It has things.
I'm writing one. I'm writing a sapphic thing that doesn't have cheating. I keep forgetting about it. I feel really bad. It's in the baby stages of the project. That's
Okay,
about it.
so the thing is, the movie itself doesn't have religious trauma, but it takes place in a camp that is very similar to, guys, what are they called?
Conversion therapy.
Yes, conversion therapy camp. And I have friends who have religious trauma and like whose parents tried to like pray the gay away, or
Yeah.
I even have a friend who like went to a conversion therapy thing. So there's that.
You can go watch that Let's Talk if you want to.
Yeah. In that Let's Talk, I remember what happens in the movie. I do remember being a child and listening to late night radio in Miami where the DJ got a call from a bride who ended up having sex with her best friend before the wedding, and she never had experienced something with other women, and it made her question everything she understood in her life. So
yeah.
Oh, I 100% think it happens. I just don't
oh
like
yeah.
Yeah.
CB doesn't like it in her escapism.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with many a thing. I'm like, yeah, I know this is a thing that happens, but not in my fiction. So, in Save Her Soul, Moxie's ex originally cheated on her, but I changed that. So they're on good terms. Moxie thirsts after her in chapter 2. I had fun writing it.
Completely side note. You know how Artemis is the patron saint of the stream? I feel like
Oh, the cat.
Storm
I
be
was
like
so
the
confused for a
local
second.
demon. He just is watching from the shadows.
That
I'm like,
fits.
I could
Artemis
summon a
glows.
boo. If you give me 5 minutes, shall I summon a boo?
We were gonna wrap up, so you can
Okay,
bring.
never mind.
Okay.
I'll bring him for my outro. I
overall,
thought you were giving CDs.
Oh no,
Who's talking?
her dress, the
Which one?
first dress that they have to try on the cocktail dress. It might just be a product of the times. I was so disappointed in that dress.
The cocktail dress?
Yeah, the one with the lace where it like comes up and forms like.
It's very much a product of the time, because like that is like peak 80s rich lady fashion.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like the dress itself,
yes,
let's neck thing.
Let's Talks for movies are on average between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours long. It just depends on like how many topics I want to talk about in it, and 2, how much fanning and gushing that we do.
How heated we are.
See him.
So
Another thing with fashion, the necklace.
The $1 million necklace.
$250,000 necklace.
$250,000 mabai.
Apparently, fun fact, was actually a $250,000 necklace. The entire time it was on set, they had an armed security guard standing behind the director, like with a gun.
Nobody's stealing this necklace.
Yeah, I was like, damn. I got afraid for a second that there was going to be an attempt where she like low-key tried to steal it, or like it went missing and someone blamed her for it. So I'm glad that didn't happen. It also was kind of ugly, but I just don't think her red dress awesome, amazing. Her opera dress. Fun fact, that was originally supposed to be black, but the costume designer was like, nah, it's gonna be red.
Costume designer said, fuck that.
Hi, boo.
Yeah, he's
The
he's
giant
decided to be
eye.
a scarf. He
I
usually
like
doesn't-
that she tried to give Kit her police hat, and Kit was like, "No, it's your favorite."
It's a cute hat.
I'm
Though.
like, "That's why."
I like that hat. Another example of the sex workers having better fashion than everyone else in the movie.
As they tend to do. I didn't appreciate when her fashion got more and more conservative. I was like, I feel
Why is he looking
like
a
them.
grandma?
I feel like them choosing to have her do that was conveying that her entire sex worker persona was fake, and I don't feel like it was, or that that's fair. I also felt like if they were going to make her look like an old lady, it should have been an old Southern lady, not old California lady.
I think her final outfit was a good combination of both. The jeans, the
Her,
white, the blazer.
yes, her hair was not nearly big enough for 80s Southern lady, though. I'm sorry. Dolly Parton and Farrah Fawcett.
There's also some like there's probably some like metaphor.
Oh, I also didn't like how loose her curls got. Yeah, that was also what I was gonna say, because she like starts straightening her hair and stuff. Whereas at the beginning, her curls are like they're no,
and then the gorgeous big curls.
Yeah, those gorgeous, those big, those poofy, those tight curls and stuff that you're supposed to get. Like that's her natural hair. And then like as the movie goes on, she's straightening her hair, and I'm like, does it feel like she's being true to herself? It feels like she's taking on another persona.
Another fun fact in the bathtub scene where they're like where she gets covered with all the like foam and everything, the bubbles. The soap they had to use for the bubbles was so harsh it took the color, the fake red, out of her hair, and they had to do a late night retouching that same night after they finished filming the scene so they could keep going.
Yeah, there was a lot of classism.
Yeah,
especially in how like they were or they were synonymous with each other, and if wealth equals proper dress and behavior.
And there's like, I feel like there was some of the purpose of the movie. It was like we're talking about like classism, but then the inherently
eats into it.
Yeah, but
her like, short, her knee length pantsuit. I hate it. It needs to be burned.
Oh, I loved it actually.
I kind of was vibing with it.
I've been betrayed.
Yeah, I think she pulls it off very well. But
that's unfair, as Julia Roberts looks bad in nothing. She could wear that leather top bra and you'd say it looks good on her.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna bring Boo back.
So that's
stream say
that's
bye
an
to
unfair comparison.
Bye, Boo.
I do think that like, yeah, fashion overall was interesting, and I'd like to see like people who work in fashion, their take on the movie and like trends and stuff like that throughout the entire movie and how it like evolves. But it's not my major.
But I don't like the story that they told with Vivian's fashion.
Yeah, it was, her fashion changed so much where I was like, I wish we got to know what her personal style was. Like if we saw like a visual display of the persona she puts on at work, and then who she actually is versus the persona she's putting on working for Edward. I think that would be really interesting, but the only glimpse of that we get is the final scene in that outfit and her hair.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I will say, being a character from Georgia in the late 80s, she should have had a lot more denim in her wardrobe. Just period.
Did she wear jeans? She wore jeans in the final scene. But
I'm not talking about jeans.
Look. I wish she had like her curls in full force in the final look. But I like the blazer, the white top, and the skinny jeans. But
I'm talking a denim jacket.
Maybe I'll wear that tomorrow. Actually, I don't think I have any skinny jeans anymore. Not blue skinny jeans. My last pair.
But denim jackets were very quintessential Southern 80s. It was like a requirement.
My dad was talking about it. He wanted a leather or not a leather jacket, a jean jacket with a dragon embroidered on the back. And when I started getting embroidered, I'm like, I'll make it for you now. And he's like, I think I've grown out of that. And I'm like, you're boring.
I have a denim jacket.
You wear a single earring that had a dragon on it. You see, I come by it honestly. But if he doesn't do it, he doesn't wear earrings anymore. I'm like, ah, how dare.
I have a denim jacket in my closet right now, so.
You want me to embroider?
No, it's got something on it already. I inherited it.
I don't have a denim jacket. I bought one, but then I grew out of it. I thought it was finished growing, and then my shoulders got broader, and I was like, damn.
That happens.
Yeah. The one time I didn't buy an oversized jacket. It was like $50, and I was like 17. I was like, damn. Look at me.
I will say denim jackets on their own are rather useless things because if they have no lining, they will not keep you warm, and they are hot. So
yeah, I think it's hanging in my closet at home. Maybe I'll give it to someone.
All right. Do we have any final thoughts? Oh, wait. Who is your favorite character?
Ooh.
The hotel manager, Barney. I'm only slightly joking.
I do really love both Vivian and Kit. I feel like they're tied for me.
I have a weird, like, just love of Daryl and the fact that, you see him just all the time.
He's just in the movie. He gets so much screen time. Wonder if he has more screen time than Kit. At one point,
I don't think he does.
Edward is like, hey, hold this. I'll be right back. Something like that. And he just hands the suit briefcase to Daryl, and Daryl just holds it close to his chest and just leans against the front of the car. And I'm like, oh.
Is it in the end scene when he's climbing up the tower and it pans over and Daryl's just smiling? He's just like,
yeah.
I know. Daryl let him was chill with him standing up out of the top the roof of the car. And then I wonder if Daryl hit the music and then he's like, Daryl, I have a plan. He's like,
Daryl is the best wingman. He does this all the time. He's like, crazy
this is my 10th one this week, and it's Tuesday.
Daryl being the GPS before GPS was a thing.
I know where she lives. Other than that, yeah, I like.
I think for me, it's either the hotel manager, Daryl, or Kit are my favorites.
I also like the old guy.
Which old guy?
Really
the grandpa?
Yeah, the grandpa.
Grandpa's great. And then least character, I want to guess that it will be the same for all three of us. Is it perhaps a lawyer?
Oh, I was going to say Edward. I forgot about the lawyer's existence. Yes, it is the lawyer.
Mean, Edward does have that useless rich look about him.
Villain. Yes, it is.
Other than Stucky, who I guess is deemed too low-hanging of fruit for CB to consider a real answer, who is the least favorite character?
Ooh.
Oh wait, I'm changing my favorite character. It's the one dude that works at the store on commission.
Oh. He had 3 assistants that he called for. It was Mary Kate.
Mary something. He called for 3 Mary.
Yeah, they're all Mary. Hold on, I wrote it down though, because I'm trying to.
There was another group that was Mary Kate and Mary Kate and Ashley. It was really close to Mary. No, it was the Olsons. There was 2 women that were sisters named the Olsons, and I was like the twins? Obviously it wasn't, but I was really confused for a second. When
Okay,
were
it was Mary Pat, Mary Kate, Mary Francis.
Oh, those are some names.
I'm trying to.
And that man was great.
Because
He knows
I
what he
can't
wants.
remember. Is Carlos a pimp?
Carlos is a pimp, yes, and he
Yeah,
keeps trying to
okay,
get Kit and
Vivian to work for him. Yeah, he's my
yeah,
least
I
favorite.
think
If we're not picking
I think
Stucky.
Carlos, yeah, that would be my least favorite. I suspect Carlos keeps Kit indebted to him through drugs and is trying to do the same to
Vivian,
He also
yeah.
burned all of
and he
the
burned
woman stuff when she moved out, which implied that she was
a
living
little
with
bit.
him.
Yeah.
You know.
That or living somewhere under his control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Storm's decided we're not important enough to raise up her head anymore.
All right, then I guess here's my. Who do you dislike more, Carlos or Stucky?
Oh.
Carlos, because I feel like he's a repeat offender. Like this is
Well,
like all of the time.
I
He,
feel
like he does his
for
hands
me-
for things.
For
Like,
me,
yeah.
it's hard. For me, it's hard because Carlos is like this ominous background figure who
Yeah.
does a lot of shitty things. But I would argue like so does Stucky because he didn't hesitate. He didn't resist. He just immediately thought he could do all that and get away. And like from his like first line of dialogue, I guess second line of dialogue, because his first line is "Where's Edward?" But his second line of dialogue, somebody's like, "Oh hey, good party." He was like, "Oh yeah, it's my wife. She worked real hard hiring the caterers."
Yeah.
So he's like immediately just dismissing his like any effort his wife would have put into it. And like when they're at the polo thing, he tells her, he's like, "Oh, be careful where you walk, because if you step in something, we're not going back to the car to clean your shoes, right?" And like somebody fucking takes Vivian's shoes off her feet to go clean her shoes.
That's wild.
This is random person. Also, she like his wife was the one carrying the chair, and when she went to put it down, he said, "No, not too close to the tree." Like so, he's a piece of work.
He's definitely a piece of work, but I feel like he was more controlled because of Bob, because Edward can go like, "No, we're not doing that." And did so while they're, I guess we don't really know what's going on with our other
Carlos.
Yeah.
But also, I would just like to point out that I was salty at Edward because so at first I was like, all right, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt when Stucky, tried to assault Vivian, and he pulls him off, and then he's like trying to throw him out and stuff, right? I'm like, okay, he didn't hit him, but I guess it's fine because it's like, all right, so he's not violent, he's not giving into violent things. But then he's like, he calls her, but then Stucky, he's like, she's just a whore, and then he hits him, and I'm like, okay, so we're gonna hit him for calling her a thing that you yourself have called her, but not for trying to take advantage of. Oh,
see,
sir,
I think the
choices.
I think Edward's thinking was get him out of the room as soon as possible. You know, like literally just get him
I've seen enough testosterone-filled men. He could have multitasked. He could have, in fact, stood him up and punched him out the room.
I don't think he's really the fighty type, you know? I don't think he has that skill. I think he's more just
the guy's like briefcase. He got the guy's briefcase for him, was pushing him out. Like, what are you doing? Priorities.
I'm just saying, it felt like he was trying to take the high road, and then like choices were made. I would have preferred he just punched him from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then like thrown his briefcase at his head. I felt like that would have been fine.
I wish he called the police. Or like
that too.
But we don't know what happened. That's another thing where it's like an open-ended.
Well, I don't think it's open-ended. I think he just let him go. He fired him. Like we don't even get confirmation he fired him, but I'm gonna assume he fired him.
But it's also like, if Edward called the police, probably what would happen is that Vivian would be, in trouble because of the legality of sex work, right?
That's his niece.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The hotel staff. The hotel staff will vouch that that's his niece.
Barney will just come over and be like, "That is my daughter."
She's Daryl's daughter.
The actor.
This is Daryl's daughter. Dennis can vouch. Dennis, you've been on work as these buttons. Dennis, he's seen her all week.
Dennis was so funny. The elevator boy.
Mhm.
I think that the guy that plays Barney, the hotel manager, plays basically the exact same role in Princess Diaries. So I'm like,
Mhm.
I feel like I already have an emotional connection to this man because like I grew up watching Princess Diaries, and so he shows up and I'm like, oh my god, I know
I will
you.
say, I think the directors and everything did such a good job making the movie that like all of the named characters, like no matter how small their role, are like endearing, and we could just say their name and we know who it is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I didn't even have to say Dennis was the elevator boy, and like y'all knew. Man's had like 2 lines.
But he had a lot of looks. He was like,
and no judgment.
Yeah. He was like, wow, she's hot. Wow, she's hot.
The only time I saw judgment on his face was when like he gets to they're fighting, he gets up there and he's like, And he's like waiting to figure it out, and it's like we're not going down. And then he like just kind of sighs, and I'm like, I don't know who he's judging, but he's judging somebody for that.
I feel like if she went, I need out of here, he'd be like, I'm here for you. I man the elevator. I help those who want to go down, and those who want to go up, go up.
See, I think the sign was not so much him like judging them, but more so like, the trip for nothing, like sort of thing.
So awkward now. I have to wait for the doors to close and go back down.
You know how weird it's gonna look for me to go down with nobody? They're gonna think I was wasting time. Also, what shift does that poor boy work? Because he worked night, he worked in the morning,
Night, but he also works in the day.
he worked day.
That's what the couch in the elevator's for him to sleep.
Poor boy just lives in the elevator.
He doesn't go anywhere else. That's why his button was unbuttoned, because
Yeah, it's
they
like,
were
he just got off the night shift, so go work the day shift. He's just getting a snack first.
That's the other thing. He's like, he just got off the night shift. Dennis was not coming out of that elevator before he was called. So what was he doing? Did he check out of his night shift and into his day shift?
Yeah. Dennis just doesn't. He's actually a ghost, and he's worked there for 100 years.
Also, I want to know, okay, because apparently this hotel and their associates are very used to catering to men with escorts, right?
I mean,
that when Mr. Lewis was like, could you give us the room? And everybody just left the dining room with the piano.
The piano was so like, what the fuck are you doing? I was horrified. I mean, the lighting in that scene was really pretty, but like, I was like, people can walk. They're waiting to do their job. What are you doing?
I'm like, she doesn't want to kiss him so bad. She's doing some gymnastics.
And then just went all the way. Were cameras a thing in the 80s / early 90s? Security.
What?
Were security cameras a thing?
I don't think he cared.
Yeah.
I don't think she cared.
I mean, it was a very pretty scene visually, like that camera work and like lighting. Amazing.
I'm too pragmatic for because I'm just like, what are the workers doing? Because they were clearly closing up.
They're waiting outside. They're just standing outside the door, like doo doo doo, just hearing the piano go off and be like doo 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 doo.
They're just so used to it. Also, he's like, I only play in front of strangers, bitch. I know the whole fucking hotel crew. All right.
sure you've learned
They're
that.
probably like, we are the like A team on minding our own goddamn business.
Farmers. The A team of mind your own damn business. All right, now we shall wrap it up. Does anybody have any final things or aspects they wish to speak of? Which last time I asked that, we continued on for 20 minutes, so that was great.
I really enjoyed the apparent relationship that Edward had with his exes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that they were all on friendly terms,
or at least that one that we know of.
Yes, because like he's all like, I love when he's like, when we dated, did you talk to my secretary more than you talked to me? And she's like, she was one of my bridesmaids
at my wedding. That was wild.
He's just like, oh.
All right,
that's my wife or girlfriend. Yeah. An ex-wife and an ex-girlfriend, Edward.
We don't say that. I was like, sir, that is not accurate. If you don't have a wife and your girlfriend if they're exes, but it was fine.
I understand slightly when like some people who got divorced still count their exes if they're paying alimony. Just like a little bit, not being like we are like currently together, but it's like, yeah, no, I still I still pay them money, so I still have to have some form of relationship with them through legal things. But yes,
that is my last thought.
Tina, do you have any final thoughts? Are you good?
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
I feel like Vivian sitting on the edge of the balcony while while Edward freaks out is very representative of me and my friendships with everyone.
I thought it was so funny though, because on their shots they showed that there's like she could lean all the way back and still be on top of like the balcony's an L. Like,
oh yeah, the balcony's like huge.
But she still had a railing behind her, so she could lean. Like she's like, oh look, no hands. But if she lost, she would just go back onto concrete. Like there was still stuff behind her, and I'm like, that she's just fucking with him, and I enjoy that.
But I related to him so much, still freaking out over the height and like putting the chair between the doorway, because I'm also afraid of the heights in that same way. Where it's like if you were like, Tina, I'm gonna sit on the balcony, I'm like, the chair's in the middle.
No.
Foot in the door.
You're like, that's nice for you. This is where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one final one. It's a thought I keep having throughout the whole stream, and I'm not gonna remember it until we done.
Of course.
Until we finish.
Well, I guess you'll have to join the Sam's realm to see what it is. People.
To learn my final thought, get an invite to maybe Jackbox. Who knows?
Can you guys hear that when I'm like playing with the rocks?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I don't mind it.
That's fine.
I need a different fidget toy. I was just ripping up a piece of paper like into weird designs, and I was like, oh wait.
Oh, I like that they both live on the top floor.
I like
even though technically Kit lives on the top floor. That was still.
Also, I saw that they live in a hotel. I don't know. It was some weird, like, I think the whatever I was reading got messed up because it was like Kit and Vivian live in a hotel, and I'm like, I don't think they do.
No, they live in an apartment.
It's just like where it was filmed, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, it might have been filmed in a hotel. Alrighty, then go ahead, say your goodbyes. It sounded so much more final than I meant it.
Goodbye. I am C.B. Ferrenz.
Requiesce pace.
Queer fantasy writer and screenwriting major. If you want to see me again, you can come to my channel on Wednesday at 2:00 to join Sam and I doing Whip Wednesday, where we waving at a child, not at me. Where we
let me see your hands.
where we work on our
Borrow
current
them.
projects. And you're welcome to join us. All right, Tina.
Oh boy. You
There
were
you
so fast.
I need to borrow this.
I didn't even post all the links. Um,
Just wait for my turn.
so, as Sam started to introduce before, I make gay comics of the smoochy and spooky variety. Although the Deep Sea Mermaid one is not actually a romance. They just have a fun conversation. If you want a headcanon that they smooch, I'm fine with that. The logistics seem to be a bit tricky, but and you could find out all about that in my links below, and you could read my current project, One Mystery Treat, on the webtoons here. And I still haven't found any similarities between it and Pretty Woman, but
Pretty woman.
romances,
The fashion.
the fashion.
It has fashion technically
Just
in it.
draw somebody in the Pretty Woman dress from the beginning, and then I'll be right.
Wow. The main character
It's
does
ongoing. I'm not wrong yet.
a little shirt bodysuit situation that has a bunch of open spaces in the back that is not too dissimilar to the Pretty Woman. It's got cutouts. There we go. That's the similarity. If you like pretty people wearing cutout shirts/dresses
With wavy hair.
Yeah, with wavy hair.
Look at
And
that.
I am Writing Mom Samantha Illness, and on my channel I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. I also host live streams like these sometimes, and next month we will be having a flash fiction free-for-all and a quarterly party. It's going to be a good time. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by. Do join the Sam's Realm if you would like to, and we will see you next time.